Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the WWE Report or Pro Wrestling Unleashed. If you're watching from Bill's channel, AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 33. That's why you love this channel. We come at you with all the rumors here. And let's start off with what Jason has to say, and we're going to reiterate in there like we're talking to him, and he can't talk back. Aha. Anyway, how you doing, Bill? Right quick.
All right, man. Thanks for having me on, dude.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me on your show. Anyway, let's get to it.
Bam from Queensland, Australia. Do you think the reason Kurt Angle was not in the Royal Rumble was to save him as a secret opponent for AJ Styles at WrestleMania and then bill it as his very last match? I would love that a lot more than Styles against Shane McMahon. You know what? I would take back all the stuff I've said about WWE here as we head into the Chamber tonight and we head into WrestleMania and how Styles looks like the odd man out, right? It looks like Bray's going to get set up with Randy and Cena's probably going to be doing his thing with Nikki against Miz and Maurice, or at least that's the rumor. And it just seems like all these different people have their things being set up and seeds being planted for Mania. And I've heard the AJ Shane McMahon rumor, but AJ's just kind of the odd man out here. He'll probably just end up with Shane. And it's a shame because I think you could do a lot more with him. If they ended up doing that, then I would apologize and I would take all of that back because I think that would be
a tragedy. Absolutely. Don't you think Kurt Angle, AJ Styles would be a hot ticket for Mania, man? Come on. Versus AJ and Shane McMahon in a no-holds-barred match, most likely. Wouldn't you rather see Kurt Angle and AJ Styles? Yes, we've seen it in TNA and probably other areas, but we haven't seen it in WWE. That would be fucking awesome. What you think?
Well, for one, I would say it as being, no matter what other matches you would have in TNA, which, like I said, I kept up TNA the early years of it, but I also, too, feel like if it would be in a dream scenario, yeah, reality, no, it wouldn't happen because Kurt Angle hasn't been cleared past the physical to be part of to wrestle. He's on. That's how come he wasn't in last year. He didn't pass the physical. So for him to get in a match with AJ, you hope one that he's healthy. You hope two that he gets enough.
What about now though? You think he could possibly pass a physical now? If not just for a match with AJ Styles, if just for that, you think maybe he could pass a physical now? Because I listened to Kurt Angle on Austin's podcast about a month ago, and he said, well, WWE just don't have anything for me right now. I can pass a physical. I haven't took pills anymore, blah, blah, blah. But they're kind of strict with the Adderall stuff. But then again, if they hire him like they hired Brock Lesnar, maybe he can get away with a little something, because Brock Lesnar got away with steroids when he was in UFC, and WWE didn't even suspend him. But my thing is, do you think he's cleared now for Mania, or perhaps be signed as a part-time contractor to where he can get away with it? Because remember, The Rock came back and had a couple of matches. I don't care what people say. Dwayne was on steroids or something in that match with John Cena, because he was big guy, and he can get away with it because he's Hollywood. He's a Hollywood guy, and Vince could have paid him under the table or something. I don't know, but I'm just saying, independent contract movie star, they can get away with certain stuff. So Kurt Angle being independent like that, maybe he can wiggle around it. I don't know. You think that's a possibility?
Well, the whole thing is I will say this: if Kurt can pass the physical, he's got a good 2 to 3 more matches left in him. He definitely has those, but it just depends on if he passed the physical, because he failed it last year. That's how come they didn't sign him last year. It's not they didn't have nothing for him. It's just the fact that he didn't pass the physical last year. That's where it all counts, because Daniel Bryan didn't. That's how come Daniel Bryan basically had to retire.
Yeah, but they're saying, you're right. He didn't pass physical last year, and it's not they didn't have no form. But that's his side of the story. That's what he's saying. But we know Kurt Angle lies a lot. Not a lot, but he just, he just plays victim. I think he means well and everything, but they got something. Yeah, they got something for him this year if he can pass that physical and just be honest or whatever. What are you gonna say?
No, said if he passed the physical due to their history, if he was what Solomon's talking about as far as these things go, Kurt Angle and AJ can have put on good matches before. I see no reason why they can't put on a good match in WWE. I mean, it's still they've had good chemistry before in the ring. So yeah, do I think they're put on a good match? Yeah, they've always have.
And just think WWE, in my opinion, is getting kind of desperate when they bring back Goldberg and they pay him millions of dollars to practically, fight for 2 to 3 minutes or whatever it was. Yeah, we love to have Goldberg back and stuff, but Vince at the end of the day can say, well, Goldberg's just too expensive. And he demands too much. He wanted $1 million, wrestle 2 minutes, and he wants the world title. He demands a lot because he's using that as leverage. He's blackmailing them in a sense. So with Kurt Angle, hold on.
Blackmail.
I know that's a strong word. I'm just saying.
If they didn't, there's nothing Goldberg is holding against him. Goldberg, if you watch, his matches are cheap. His run is cheap. I'll agree. It's not a WCW run. But Vince, he's getting out of Goldberg what Gold was looking for. And that's he's the top face basically on Raw. He cuts better promos than he did back in WCW. He's doing
I already had a conversation about my thoughts about his promos in the last episode. Yes, his promo work has gotten better, but I just don't think his promos fit his character because it makes him look too nice. I like the quiet Goldberg better. That's just preference. But what I was saying is, Bill, okay, Goldberg costs a lot of money. He brings Vince ratings, pay-per-view networks, his script, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying, hold on. I'm just saying if Vince had more options, I don't think he would pick Goldberg because Goldberg demands too much. Hey, I'm only going to work this amount of time. You got to pay me this much, and you got to give me a title run. It's not blackmailing. He just demands a lot. So the point in me saying that is if Kurt Angle could pass a physical just because he's star power, absolutely WWE will find something for him. They're probably dying to get him back in there if he could pass the test. You know what I mean? Like, because they know Kurt Angle, AJ Styles is money. Kurt Angle just showing up is Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar. Even though I don't want to see that match because I've seen it at WrestleMania 19. It's different times and whatnot. I just hate when Brock first came back. He had the matches with Triple H at Mania. And he had that match with Undertaker. And I just remember their old matches. I don't know. I'm just saying there ain't nobody left to bring back. So Goldberg is thinking like, well, Vince will pay me this much because he ain't get. Who else you got? That's Goldberg's mentality, and that's fair. Credit to him for that. Cool. I'm just saying, if Kurt Angle was available, I think Vince would absolutely jump all over it. What you think?
Vince is going to do just what he did with Goldberg. He's going to do with Kurt Angle. Yeah. Kurt will come at him with a deal. He's going to take it, whether he's able to pass the physical, whatever the case may be. Goldberg did what Brock Lesnar did. Vince, like you said, I agree 150% with you that Vince is running out of options. Why do you think he brought Lesnar back? Lesnar gets whatever Lesnar wants. Lesnar is dominant. Lesnar gets a push more than John Cena and Roman Reigns does together. But the fact of the matter is that he draws those ratings. Vince could care less. Vince will pay out of his tail and give money if they can deliver the ratings. And if they don't.
Hold on. Bret Hart demanded more money in 97, and Vince said, hey, I just don't have it. And
it's a different time.
Hold on. We're running out of time here. But anyway, hold on. Check this out. Okay, you don't have to tell me. See, approaching free recording limit. Anyway, very quickly. Okay, you bring Kurt Angle back as a part-timer, you pay him $1 million. This is what I like about Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle will say, hey, I'm not gonna go out there and wrestle 30 seconds. I'm gonna give because he loves wrestling. I'm gonna give them a great show, and we'll be right back. I'm just saying. You give for example, you give Kurt Angle the Brock Lesnar contract. We'll pay you $3 million over the course of 3 years. And all you got to do is show up on Raw and be mute and wrestle at big pay per views. And you don't even have to do anything in the match. Kurt Angle will be like, hey, Vince, I'm with you, bro, but I'm going to have some kick ass matches because I love wrestling. That's what I love about Kurt Angle. He wouldn't have done what a Brock Lesnar did in that Rumble match. He would have been like, hey, man, pay me the same money, but put me in there at number one. I want to steal the show. I'm just saying and he might get hurt or he might be injured, but I'm just saying, you pay Kurt Angle what you pay him $50, $1 million, he'll give you a good wrestling match. Because he has a reputation of having good matches, and he don't want to throw that away. Don't you agree that you give a Brock Lesnar contract, he'll still give you better? Remember Dean Ambrose told Steve Austin, he said, man, I had a match with Brock Lesnar, and I said, let's do this spot, let's do that spot. And Brock said no. And I said, well, Brock, you're just lazy. He wouldn't have that problem with Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle be like, well, I would, but, I already broke my neck 20 times, but we'll try. Kurt Angle wrestled with a broken fucking neck. Check out that interview with Stone Cold. From 02 to 03, Kurt Angle wrestled again with his neck about broke. It was like tied together or something. And Steve Austin was like, how in the hell did you wrestle like that with your neck hanging on a string? He's like, well, I took 90 painkillers and did what I had to do, man. I love wrestling. I was like, wow. I love Kurt Angle, man. He's fucking Buddhist. He even mentioned that. Because he was like, what you do for training since you're not on drugs anymore, Kurt? He's like, well, I have to work harder, train harder, and I do things like meditation. And I said, I knew it, because I could tell by Kurt Angle's eyes that because he's very, very, very concentrated. Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's a Buddhist. I'm just saying Buddhism is all about deep concentration to keep you focused on the present moment, so you don't cling for X's and stuff. So like, Kurt. Okay, if Kurt's not a Buddhist, he would be a good Buddhist. Like, all I gotta do is concentrate all day. He's intense, intelligent, integrity, the 3 eyes, whatever. I love Kurt Angle. Great guy. If I was a wrestler, I would be Kurt Angle type. Because I'm small man, and I would be technical and super focused. I'm sorry. I'm just a fan, just a Kurt Angle mark. But what were you saying?
Well, no, I'm just saying Kurt Angle, to your point, Kurt Angle is more athletic. Goldberg has his matches because Goldberg's basically very weak and he's not very technical in his matches.
I got a counterpoint. I got a counter to that. Okay.
I was going to say what I was trying to finish up with that, but I'll do it. I just want to say this. It's just the fact with Goldberg, what you do is you exemplify a person's weaknesses and you don't expose them. And Kurt Angle is the type that really he can put on any kind of match that doesn't have because he doesn't have any weaknesses. When it comes to Goldberg, Lesnar has weaknesses, which Lesnar's really weaknesses that he's very reckless in the ring. Goldberg is not a technical wrestler. He's not nothing. That's why Bischoff, back in his pay-per-view, he was talking about his documentary. He was talking about give Goldberg these squash matches because Goldberg, he couldn't be in the ring long. So it's just exposing weaknesses and not exposing them. WWE wants the best out of Goldberg. They want ratings. Yes. They want the best out of Brock. They want ratings. And Angle would be an awesome addition because I was a big Angle fan myself because Angle can wrestle. Angle can really wrestle and put on a good show on top of it. So, yeah, dude, I you mentioned that. I totally agree 100% with you. Now, I'm sorry about that. Go right ahead.
Okay, I agree, but I disagree. What I'm saying is, I agree with you 100% about Goldberg. squash match because he would get exposed, and that's what he's good at. The more he comes out there, the more he's exposed. Blah blah blah. Okay, I'm talking about from a greedy standpoint. Okay, we'll let Goldberg slide because he don't have much arsenal, and that's his gimmick to have quick matches. But Brock Lesnar was an amateur wrestler. Brock Lesnar can have 20-minute matches, and he told Dean Ambrose, "I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that," because he's lazy. He's greedy and he's lazy. So what I'm saying is, you pay if they were desperate for Kurt Angle to come back, and they're desperate. Kurt Angle could easily say, well, hey, I'm not doing that suplex. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I just want the money. I'm not doing that. When compared to Brock Lesnar. So Kurt Angle can make $1 million and do 2 moves like Brock and suplex, and make a lot of money. But I don't think Kurt Angle's that kind of person morally. He's not greedy. He'll say, oh, hell no, I want to have a kick-ass match. I don't care how much you pay me. I want to have a kick-ass. I'm just saying that's the difference between Kurt Angle and a Brock Lesnar. We'll let Goldberg slide because, that's just his gimmick. And that's all I'm saying.
I agree. I agree with
Kurt Angle will work for his money more so than Brock.
Yeah, because Kurt Angle
and it's not just because he's a good wrestler. It's because he has a passion for wrestling. That's all I mean.
Lesnar to me, Bud, and I agree 100% what you're saying with as far as money wise. But what you think is wrestling is like sports.
Yeah.
You see sports today. You see basically, you see sports today. Free agents, a agent will try to get his guy the most money he can for the least that he can.
Yeah.
What with Goldberg and with Lesnar, they both gain a ton of money, but don't have to do as much as your typical full-time guy.
Yeah, I'm just saying Kurt Angle would do extra work because he loves wrestling. Out of the three, Kurt Angle is the most passionate wrestler out of the 3. He loves it the most out of the 3.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. As far as money wise, they're going to try to get, and they'll shit them out. You look at Hulk Hogan's contract with WCW. It was a shitty contract. But you look at what he got. He got creative control. He didn't hardly wrestle. He got a ton of money. And we're like, Hogan puts on shit matches. He's got flair in a match, but he sure puts on a shit match because he just can't wrestle. And that's the way Kurt Angle is. Kurt Angle is a gifted athlete. He reminds me of him and Chris Benoit as far as being gifted athletes and techniques.
Yeah.
Real hard.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we might we're going to do a future video about our thoughts on Hulk Hogan returning to WWE at WrestleMania. The rumor is Hogan's returning to WWE at WrestleMania. We'll save that for another video because I think that would be a good, quick topic video.
Right.
Yeah, if you're interested, we'll do that next. Actually, if you're interested, I'll find a clip about the rumor clip, and we could do that. But anyway, let's see what Solid Monster has to say, and then we'll be right back.
Tremendous idea, and that would be a big, big match. And it's the match that Kurt wants. Kurt said it recently. If he had to pick one last opponent for one last match, he would pick AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Now, do I think it's happening? No, I don't think it's happening, but I love the idea. I still think it's more likely, and I'll mention this now because this rumor popped up from somewhere and everyone's talking about this. I like the idea more so of Angle showing up on Raw the night after WrestleMania to replace Mick Foley as the Raw GM. And if that idea sounds familiar, it's only popping up this week, but if it sounds familiar, it's
because he did it on SmackDown.
Because you heard it here first on this show back on Sound Up.
Oh, never mind. But yeah, Kurt Angle was the manager, the GM of SmackDown, while he was injured for a few months. I loved it. Kurt Angle, smart guy. He looks like a business guy. And but to be honest with you, Bill, and we got 1 minute left, I don't want to see him. Okay, that's a great idea in theory, but implemented in reality, no. Because I like Mick Foley. I love Mick Foley back in the day. But Mick Foley, as a GM, having to read these scripts, he's fallen flat to me. And I don't want to see Kurt Angle in that spot because I fear that he might fall flat. Not because he sucks, because of the damn scripts. So, SmackDown GM back in the day, when it was freestyle, awesome. Today's Raw and day and time, Kurt Angle's the GM. It might not be as good because you're gonna have Stephanie fussing at him, and he can't make them titty jokes in the flotation device jokes like The Rock. He can't do shit like that anymore, so it probably will suck. But we'll be right back with our final thoughts on that. Yeah, man, he would just the way the writers are in current WWE. I don't trust him as a general manager because I can hear Don Tunney now. Oh, Kurt Angle's falling flat as the GM, just like Mick Foley. It's not his fault. It's the writer. It's the show's fault because the show sucks so bad. Sometimes, most times. Yeah, bring him back. I'd rather see Kurt. I don't know why they don't bring back wrestlers like Kurt as a manager. They used to back in the day. Kurt Angle was a good SmackDown GM. Imagine him as a manager. Oh, my guy's going to beat you. It's damn true. He managed Team Angle in a way. Team Angle slash World's Greatest Hit Team. I'm just saying, bring him back as a manager. Paul Heyman, greatest manager ever. One of the greatest ever. And Bobby Heenan's a notch above him, in my opinion. But, people go either way with that. Kurt Angle's a manager, though. That would be cool. They don't put him with the fucking alpha males or whatever they're called. American Alpha. Fuck that. Because them guys are not mega stars. At least not yet. Don't put them with that. Paul Ellering, Authors of Pain. I do like that. So anyway, okay, well, let's finish with Solid Monster. 1 minute left here. Let's see.
476. Over a month ago when I did the prediction show. Now, what I actually predicted was that Kurt was going to come back to WWE, but it was going to be as the cover boy for the 2K18 video game. That's how I thought he was going to finally be reintroduced back into the family.
Which is a good idea.
And then that would lead to more matches and a Hall of Fame induction. So they did the Hall of Fame induction first. But look, he could still be on the cover of 2K18. That prediction could still come true. That's what I predicted. But what I said also was that if Kurt instead comes back to TV first, what role do I envision for him? I said that I could see him taking over Mick Foley's spot as the GM on Raw the night after WrestleMania, because we all know Mick Foley is not long for that position. Mick Foley himself has said he is not long for that position. Now he's got hip surgery scheduled. I don't know what the date is.
That's probably true, but I don't think I just think it's the writing, man. He's fell flat on Raw. And I don't think and maybe it might be because he don't have a passion for it, but shit, man, he just sucks as the manager.
I would think he's going to hold off until after Mania, but I don't know that. But he's got that scheduled. That's going to take him off the road anyway for 6 or 8 weeks. It makes perfect sense to get Kurt on TV, to not have him wrestle if they don't want him to wrestle for his own safety. And I don't know if he could pass the physical and all that. We don't know that. It makes sense. But now I see this rumor floating around the last few days about it. I like the idea when I first talked about it 6 weeks ago. I think Kurt should be the new Raw GM.
Well, I hear you, Jason, but I just don't. I mean, okay, I just don't want him to fall flat as the GM like Mick Foley did. That's the only thing. My only concern with that. So no, I'd just rather not see him as the Raw GM. And he'll come back. I can't wait for his Hall of Fame speech. If nothing else, maybe if he don't fight AJ Styles at Mania, maybe he can have him a good match at SummerSlam. Just stay off the Adderall for a month. Come on, Kurt, you can do it.
Adderall is for ADHD.
I can see, whatever he's on. I know that's the popular trend now, but Vince McMahon be like, if you can stay off the pills just for 1 month, we can have us a good match at SummerSlam. The XFL. Anyway, that's all I got to say for Kurt Angle. I wish him nothing but the best. He was my favorite, one of my favorite wrestler. The early when Kurt Angle came out, he was automatically my favorite man. And my friend Sean, big macho guy, not Macho Man's fan, but just a macho dude. He always liked Batista and the big guys and shit, but he loved Kurt Angle and he loved Team Angle because he's like, man, I like them because they dress like athletes and are smart, blah blah blah, integrity, intelligence, and something else. Idiot, probably. My roommate Nick back in the day, he always say, "Man, I like Kurt Angle because you can tell he's a serious wrestler. It's just the way he looks, his attire and his attitude. He looks like an amateur wrestler, and people respect that about him. But that's pretty much all I got to say about this news story here. Thanks for watching. I'm watching the WWE Report, by the way, and our Team B, Bill Mack and Brandon. That's all I got to say. So, what you got to say, Bill? Any closing thoughts? We got a few minutes here. Anything you want to add about this? So AJ Styles, Kurt Angle at Mania. They should. What would you think? They should make that a submission match. I also,
if it's a dream match, sure. It's just the fact that the problem I see with them is
okay. Let's pretend like it was happening. It was happening. What kind of match would you pick between them two? A submission match or like cage match or something? I like the Cab Crusher versus the Ankle Lock. You know what I'm saying? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, see, dude.
Or any thoughts, really.
Huh?
What's your thoughts on a submission match between the two, or just any thoughts in general?
Honestly, dude, they don't need. I don't think they need a specialty match. I really don't, because they're both are technical wrestlers. They both, which I don't know if Kurt can still high fly. I know AJ can, but
he said he could do all the moves that he used to, but he can't do a moonsault off the top of the cage.
No, not. But I just feel like you don't have to have a specialty match with those guys. They don't need to have that because they put on awesome matches enough as it is. So I don't
see a submission. Well, yeah, and I agree with that. Only reason I mentioned submission matches because they're both good at submission holds, and that's not a gimmick match, Submissions used to be very important. Remember, pinfall or submission.
Yeah, but the fans don't. Today's WWE quote universe don't really have time or the patience like an old match. That's what I miss about the old fans. You see these fans today, if they don't go doing "Oh, this is awesome" chant, then something's going on. But I just hope that they can basically
because I'll give you a quick example. Shawn Michaels had a match with Kurt Angle, WrestleMania 21. And it wasn't a submission match, but you had a lot of submission attempts in it, and you could tell the crowd was kind of bored with it. But in hindsight, everybody loves that match, and everybody loved it, but the crowd, all they're gonna do is headlock. All they're gonna do is headlocks and ankle locks and figure fours. Come on, I'm like, no, dude, it's a fucking submission match. That's their style. I love that match. I love that match. JR called it. He still talks about it this day.
Exactly. I mean, they put on good. It's just the fans, if they can have enough patience to watch a good match. These fans, all over fans, the product, dude, back the product of the old days. The fans everywhere you went always look forward to it. But you got your dead crowds, your crowds that are actually hot crowds. Your raucous crowds. You got all kinds of crowds in these days and times. So it's really kind of like a mixed bag of what you're going to get when you get a crowd. Now, me, dude, I totally am into a like a specialty match, if it's a submission match or something.
Yeah.
But the way that these guys are these days and times, it's very, very agitating to see that happen. It's very agitating to see these crowds when you put on a good match and they're chanting other stuff because they don't want to take the time to watch a match, and to me that's very sad.
It's not the same. It's not the same fans that grew up in the 80s.
Right.
It's the millennials. Exactly. And you still have your old fans there like us, but we're kind of outnumbered because people our age have kind of moved on. And yeah, man, because I watch WrestleMania 10, Bret Hart, Owen Hart, very technical, great match. But I can watch it and be like, well, people probably be bored with it now. Or Macho Man Steamboat, matches like great storytelling. Let me see. All right, so we got 40 seconds remaining. So anything, check out Bill Mack's channel. He's in the cards in the description here.
If you're on mine, check out Bullet Bill on mine. You'll see you'll see his information in the end, and it's a video.
Yeah, man, we make awesome WWE videos. We love it, you know.
Right, we do it.
Been watching.
Don Tony ain't got it on us.
Nah, he sure don't. But we, you know, big fan of his. Wrestling Soup follows me on YouTube, so there's some legitimacy for you, ladies and gentlemen. With that said, we'll see you next time. Hey, Bill, thanks for being on.
Hey, dude, thanks for having me, man, and for always